Hey, Miguel Lloyd, host of Life Full Circle Radio. Let me get all centered up over here. What's up? Happy Wednesday. We've been busy the last few weeks, and so on again, off again. Stuff been jumping off, stuff been popping off. But anyway, man, I had a good day today. I actually was in town. There is a black-owned electric car company called Derrick Automotive. So I had a chance to go into the city of Atlanta and tour and see that vehicle and see all the stuff they got going on. That was pretty cool. But in the midst of all that, I saw the craziness going on in the world. And so I had to get on this airways and get into this thing. All right, let's go. Hello.
I'm here.
Microphone check 1 2 1 2.
I am here. What's up, everybody? I'm
Your
sorry.
joke got me feeling all funny. You had the camera. I was feeling short. You was all looking tall. You're just 6-footer over there. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? I got some energy. I got to get out of me.
Never take my kids to a Diwali celebration until they're like 5 or 7.
We was gonna talk about the Diwali thing at the end of the show, but you brought it up now, and other people are now they're scratching their head like Diwali. What does that mean?
So Diwali is a Hindu celebration of light, and it's almost like the beginning of a new year, almost where you get to go into this new season only thinking about the light, pushing all the darkness behind you, and that's how they celebrate. You light little diyas, which are little lights that you light around your house, and you light up all of your doorways. And a lot of Hindu churches have ceremonies. The twins, we were like, we'll take them to Hindu church for the first time. They've only been one other time for a family event. And it was as bad as it can be expected. But, all old people, they know how little kids are.
How old are they now? How old are they now?
They'll be 19 months next week.
They're wearing y'all out.
You know what? It's not so bad, but when you put them in a church situation, now you're just like, don't touch that. Please sit still. Don't do that. Why are you screaming? Here, look at my phone. It's magical. Ooh, don't touch that live flame. Don't knock that Hindu statue over. That's what you're doing the entire time.
Yeah.
Then your son pees on you and you get to go home. And that was that.
Hey, okay. Welcome to parenthood. All right. So anyway, let's get into the show today. A lot going on. We will be talking at some point extensively about Kanye getting cut by everybody. And I said that on purpose. Everybody. I don't know.
Skechers don't even want him, child. Skechers want everybody, and they do not want Kanye West. He tried to show up at their headquarters today, and they were like, "No, sir, there's no one to meet with you. You need to go. You need to go." Yeah.
So for some of y'all who usually tune in on Facebook, Facebook is tripping today. So we are only live on YouTube. So make sure you guys, if you see us on Facebook or you're looking for us on Facebook, we're over here on the YouTubes, and we need y'all to come hang out with us. So that's what it is. But Kanye, man, I was sitting in my barber's chair today, and he was like, man, I got questions for you about Kanye. And I was just like, yo, I personally don't know what the hell he's doing. I'm trying to figure out what is the purpose of what he's doing right now. He's wilding. It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He's lost a good bit of his fortune, supposedly, which for people who don't understand how this thing works, when they say somebody's worth billions of dollars, a lot of it has to do with how much access they have to resources and to capital. If you have money or if you have resources, then you have access. So the biggest thing he's losing right now is his access.
Yes. And he's lost a lot.
He's lost
major access.
He's lost a lot of access. And I'm trying to figure out what is his end game. Or does he basically believe that when it's all said and done, he's big enough that it ain't gonna matter? I don't know. Because it's crazy. Like, dude, you have Adidas. Let's run it down. Adidas, Balenciaga.
Vogue magazine has completely cut ties.
What else?
Let me go through that. Those are all the major ones that just kind of jump out at you. But he's that. Being cut from Vogue magazine isn't just like, oh, the magazine doesn't want to deal with you.
But you're in the fashion business.
But Vogue magazine is literally the gatekeeper to everybody else. So if Vogue says we don't want to deal with you, that means Fendi doesn't want to deal with you. That means Louis Vuitton doesn't want to deal with you.
Right.
That means
Right.
Prada, Gucci, none of these
Right.
other people. Nobody
Right.
wants to go against all hail Anna Wintour. She controls that. And once he got
Right.
mad at the editor, Gabrielle, it was a wrap for that. You know, he got dropped by Balenciaga. The Gap partnership, that's a wrap, of course. Adidas. It's just, and those were all of his major deals and partnerships. Oh, he lost two players from Donda. What is
Right.
it
Right. Right. He
called?
lost. He lost Jalen Brown from the Celtics, and he also lost. I don't know why I can't remember. He's the best defensive lineman in the NFL, but he plays for the Rams. Arnold. He also quit. For some people don't know, he has an academy, the Donda Academy, where he has some of the top basketball players in California are playing on his, or at least they were. They were playing on his high school basketball team. So he's probably going to lose some players over there.
Oh
He's
yeah,
totally
and the
alienated his
sports
place.
thing is called Donda Sports, and
Donda
I
Sports.
remember him mentioning this, and it just
Hmm.
kind of like went in one ear and out the other. But do you know who the president of Donda Sports is? And I did not know. And then everybody, and I don't think anybody else knew. It's Antonio Brown.
What?
I'm not joking. Antonio Brown, crazy, pull my penis out in the pool. Antonio Brown is the president of Donda Sports. And everybody kind of found out about that today because he put out, as a president of Donda Sports, like on letterhead, as a president of Donda Sports, I still want to find the humanity in Kanye, blah, 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 blah. No one cared about any of that. They were all like, wait, you're the president?
Political call. Stop calling me. I know who I'm voting for. Leave me alone.
Is that
Um,
Herschel?
Probably. His people. Hey, this is Hershel Walker, and if you anyway, all right, let me stop. All right, so anyway, I'm just trying to figure out what in the world Kanye West is doing right now.
And I think a lot of people have missed a very key question in all the interviews that he has not answered. Kanye, what do you want to happen in the long run? Not what you want, what you think is going on, or the fashion this, or the Jewish community this. What do you want to happen? Because right now, between you and Candace Owens, it sounds like they're trying to cause a race war between the black people and the Jewish delegation.
Man,
And that's
you bring
awful.
up Candace. So much has happened from the White Lives Matter T-shirt to him buying Parler, which was ran by Candace Owens' husband.
Yep.
Which Parler, for people don't know, you don't know about Parler for good reason. Parler was a trash social media website. A bunch of white racist supremacists were on this website. It was so
It
bad
was
that
Twitter for white people, for only white people who support Trump. That's what it was.
that's what it was, and so it got shut down. And Kanye goes and buys that. Why? Like, dude, what are you doing? I don't, But here's the ultimate question, and it is what it is. I'm going there. But the dude makes some music that people still can't leave him alone.
Oh, okay. Then we should all be listening to R. Kelly music still, then, right?
And that's where I said I was going. And now R. Kelly was some sexual transgressions, and I think that's worse. It still remains worse than what Kanye
It still
doing
remains
right now.
worse.
Right.
But
But
Kanye has gone out of his way to devalue us as a people on
no,
consistently.
and you get no argument from me there. But I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm conflicted. Because I ignored Kanye for a good while, probably about 10 years. It lasts about
You
2-3.
have.
I really we've done this show a long time. I've ignored Kanye West for a while. I was strictly old Kanye. That's my man. This new dude, I ain't got nothing to do with him. He done dropped a couple tracks the last 2 or 3 years that are kind of fire.
And no one has negated that he's a musical genius. We
He
all
is a
know
music
that he's a
genius.
musical genius, but you cannot, just like everybody's finding out in this day and age of Me Too and social media, everything you say is not going to be gold and everybody's not going to rock with it. And if you start saying really bad stuff, Woody Allen has said that documentary dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't nobody messing with Woody Allen no more. And people were rocking with him for a
Well, I
while
never mess with him.
allegations.
But I bet you if we go on Twitter right now, I'm gonna tell you the people who ain't said nothing about Kanye. Common, John Legend, Most Def. I think Most Def did speak up, and Talib Kweli, I think they spoke up. I bring this up.
Usually it's good for a sound bite about stuff that's real crazy. No.
Well, here's my point about Kanye. Kanye has a long relationship with a lot of the artists that we love, and he's made a lot of amazing records for a lot of the artists that we love. And I just got a feeling they sitting back like, we know this dude. This is our man. Why are you tripping? Like literally, my barber sat back. They said, Miguel, if he was your client, what would you recommend? You know what I recommend right now? Put out a fire album. Just put out a fire album.
You know
No
what I'd
political
recommend?
nonsense.
You'd get back on your meds. Get back on your
Well, that
meds.
too. That too.
Level out.
That too.
And then also I'd file a restraining order against Candace Owens. You can't cross this line. You stay over
He
there.
seems to like that professional troll. I don't know what it is about her. She done hustled him into putting up some money for this parlor mess that he's got, but
Some people are saying that he likes her more than just likes her. Like that Candace Owens is his gateway back to Black women.
I don't
In the biblical
doubt
sense.
that. And here's the thing. Husband, because she is married.
She is very married with 2 kids.
She is very married with 2 kids. If you sit up here and letting Kanye West be Candace Owens' public wife, or because you know how you always somebody got your work husband. So I guess Candace Owens is Kanye West's work husband, because they look real friendly in their little White Lives Matter t-shirt. They look real chummy.
And on the red carpet of her documentary, they looked very chummy there too. Her husband was nowhere to be seen. And if she thinks dealing with him and supporting him is her gateway into the Black community, that might have been true if he hadn't said all the stuff he said. Then we would have been like, oh, you rock with her? Okay, maybe we can give her a shot.
Yeah.
But oh, you rock with her and you're saying all this stuff?
Yeah.
And Black people, what I'm gonna need y'all to stop doing is saying, they should have cared when, he had the White Lives Matter shirt and this and that. The reason why the Jewish community and other people didn't jump up and say a whole bunch, a lot of people did, is because we don't ever say anything. When he said slavery was a choice, we made comments about it. Other people were like, he still made good music. The same thing with R. Kelly.
Mm-hmm.
It took 30 years and a documentary for people to even care.
Yeah, well, on a mass level, you're right. No doubt about it. But I know how you gonna feel when your face about to frown up. But I watched the Instagram live with Russell Simmons, and so you tried not to frown up. You tried to hide it, but you weren't very successful. All right, so here's the thing. Regardless of Russell's transgressions, we know he got issues. That's why he's chilling over in Bali right now. In every video, he's stretching in the yoga pose, right? And he's so smooth, cussing people out while he's still at the same even tone and whatever. But
he's avoiding charges. That's why he's over there.
Let me get to my point. So here's my point about Russell. Russell was there. Russell was at the beginning of the commercialization of hip hop, the beginning of hip hop getting very involved in fashion. In fashion,
becoming more than just some music. Now we're like a whole brand empire.
Absolutely. And so he did this video, and I'll find it and I'll post it on our joint. But he basically started the video like, okay, enough is enough. And so he breaks down a 15-minute live, basically talking about how the Jewish community, first of all, is not the WASP, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant community. There is a difference, and that everywhere he went, every step he made, and it's not just him in hip hop. There's always been someone Jewish that's been right there. Yeah, they've always been an ally, going back to the civil rights movement, going back to the development of NAACP. All the way up through the success of hip hop to this day. And so he's just like, Kanye, stop it. You know what I mean? Stop coming at these Jews. Now, here's the thing.
Remember when, this is just a history lesson in Black history. I remember if I say this correctly, back in the day, there was a horrific murder of 3 NAACP activists. They were in their car.
That was in Mississippi, and some of the Jewish activists were also killed. If you're talking about the same,
they were in the car with the Black kids because they decided to bury that entire. They shot them and then buried the entire car. Yes. But it's just they've always been supportive.
Jewish folks have always been. A lot of times when it is white folks, it is Jewish folks who've been engaged. And so stop it is what Russell Simmons was saying, and I agree. Stop judging people, as a whole monolith. We don't want to be judged as a monolith. Stop judging them as a monolith. All right, we got a couple of minutes before we get into what. We got a couple more things we got to talk about. Ashanti Speaks. She was interviewed by Angie Martinez. And I'm old school hip hop. I knew Angie Martinez.
I thought you were going to forget her name. That's why I was like, yeah.
Whatever. And I've seen clips. I haven't seen the full interview. But since we've talked, because we haven't been on the air for a couple of weeks, this whole Drink Champs thing came through. I was in DC last week at the U.S. Black Chambers Buy Black Conference, and one of the panels that was there was a panel that featured Ricky Smiley, Frank Ski. For people who are in DC or Atlanta, you know who Frank Ski is. Ricky Smiley, everybody know who Ricky Smiley is. And then there was also Russ Parr, who was also a syndicated radio host. Russ Parr was real upset, and I wish I'd have posted the video because I did record a little bit of it. But he was basically saying Drink Champs is the example of people who have platforms who are not trained journalists, who don't know how to manage conversations. And so for people who don't know what happened, Kanye West went on his media tour. He went and got interviewed by The Shop, which is LeBron James's show and his program for HBO. And they said, nope, we're not running this. Nope. It's off the chain. Can't do it. And so what did Kanye do? Kanye immediately went over to his boy, Nori, and said, okay, well, I'm going to do the show over here. And Nori gave him 3 hours while they smoked weed and drank everything under the table.
Which is a horrible idea to have as a show. Like, it's not like Hot Ones.
But here's the thing.
To be
you can't tell them that when they're winning awards for being the top platform for hip hop, the hip hop culture, which they just won the award for that, and they're telling everybody who will listen.
And now whoever gave them that award, I know they feel like dodo birds, because now it just shows that platform is stupid. Like,
it was BET.
When you have interviews like the Irv Gotti interview, and I'm glad Ashanti's responding, and the Drink Champs interview, when you're drinking on these serious topics, we let Irv Gotti practically call Ashanti a hoe on that show. And everybody just drinking and cheers and all that kind of stuff.
Which happened on Drink Champs as well. Yeah.
And then we have Kanye West. It's just crazy. But I'm glad Ashanti has spoken out. She deserves to. And she basically said he is turning this into something that it never was.
Yeah. It's these people are so conflicting in who they are. I watched the documentary on BET, I think it was, of Murder Inc. and the things that he went through. These guys who are master promoters, Irv Gotti, Sean Combs, what's my man who used to be Dame Dash? These guys who are master promoters, they always got some stuff with them. So it's kind of like you understand that they go hard in the paint for their artists and for their businesses, but then there's always a little bit of lies and a little bit of shadiness in what they're doing. I bring all that up to say, if you look at the documentary on Murder Inc. and what he went through and how he and his brother refused to rat. And they were trying to put them in federal prison for like 30 years for something, and they overcame that. I applaud him for that. What he's doing to Ashanti, I think he's a snake for that. So you can be both at the same time. All right, we gotta push through because we got a guest today, a film director here out of Georgia, King Williams. We're going to talk a little bit of politics and some things with him in the next couple of minutes. So we got to jump into our favorite segment. So this is a segment you come up on this joint, and we these are subject matter. We pulled up all these internet streets to make us go, what? That really happened?
Our intern be finding us the craziest stuff. We're like, where did you find it?
I'm like, where did you find this stuff? And she just sits back with that same look on her face, like, yep, it happened. Yep. All right, number 5. Khalees is treated like a pet in Singapore. Go ahead and set this up for us.
So Khalees is in Singapore on vacation. She is sitting down eating, and these two women who I'm assuming are either, I think they're either from Taiwan or Hong Kong or China. Those are all kind of the same places, different places, but they're speaking Mandarin. But they are openly like, look, do you think it's real? Do you think how long it is? Like, look, oh, it's so beautiful. It's so, whatever. And people are translating. And the women weren't being like ill gross or this is crazy. They were just admiring it. But people across the world with Black women's hair, with anybody's hair, don't walk up and touch people's hair. It's just weird. Don't walk up and touch people's bellies.
But can I ask you this? You ready for this? Yes. Why she ain't had them smoke for them like she had for Beyonce? See what I'm talking about? You gonna let the little girls play with their hair on out there over there and see? Go ahead.
Because different cultures are different. And I told this story off air. My cousins went to Bali on vacation. And Black women, we go on vacation, it's always braids. If you see a Black woman with braids out of nowhere, she going somewhere. And people were doing the same thing with their hair. And they were kind of like, oh, thank you. And moving it out of the way. But a little Chinese girl had box braids. Where her mama got this weed from, I don't know. And it was hot pink. And when she saw my cousins with braids, she was like, oh. And my cousins were like, we'll take a picture. Oh, you can touch our hair. So it's just different over there. And
No, it
I
ain't
don't
different.
feel
Y'all
they
being
mean any
hypocrites.
harm.
Y'all being hypocrites.
Next one, number 4.
Number 4. There we go. All right, girl gives away $10,000 in grandmother's savings. She about to get cut by her grandmama.
I wish my babies went to this school because apparently this girl broke into her grandma's safe and stole over $13,000 in cash. The grandma had gotten the money from the sale of a house, so she just had it in the safe. She puts all the money in her backpack and starts giving it out to the kids, different kids in the class, just giving out different kids. The parents and the teachers are alarmed, like where all these kids are getting these $100 bills. Not like ones or two. They got $100 bills. So the police are called. The police look at her backpack. She still got $2,500. They contact her grandmother, who is devastated at the loss of money because this was the savings. This was the little bit of money she was gonna have rainy day.
It's poured. It poured. My God.
And this is what happens when you live in Florida, because of course this happened in Florida.
Of course, this
Marion
happened
County.
in Florida.
I actually know
Number
where this little school is.
3. Ted Cruz thought it was safe to go to Yankee Stadium.
I need this fat man to sit down and just realize where he is. Excuse me. He goes into Yankee Stadium. He just a waving. He just so happy
Don't
to be there,
nobody
catch a
like you,
ball game.
dude. Don't nobody like
People
you.
are giving him the middle finger. They're screaming. He thinks they're cheering for him. They're screaming F you as loud as they can. F out of here. This is New York. Yo, you know
That
how
sound like New
Yorkers are.
York. F out of here. Get out of here.
This is New York. We don't want you here. Go home. Go to Cancun. Like they're doing the whole thing. And he's still smiling and waving. And every time someone takes a picture with him, that person then puts up their middle finger, like in the picture, like
this
cussing
guy.
him out. And his showing at
but here's
no
the thing: the state of Texas got the last laugh because the Houston Astros swept the Yankees. I think it might have been that night. So
he's still a very sad fat man.
He is.
Speaking of another sad fat man,
number 2, James Corden, the host of the Late Late Show on CBS, has been banned from a New York restaurant for being. I won't put what Alexis put in our notes.
Did she put the D word?
She did.
Our intern is just like, she's like, that's what the headline says. So I'm going to copy and paste exactly how the headline says. Like, all right.
Let's use some discretion.
James Corden, Mr. Happy, other happy fat man, like, oh, I make everybody laugh. I'm so cute. Is a jerk. He's a jerk.
Mr. Car Karaoke. Mr. Car Karaoke, yeah.
And this is not the first time stories have come out of James Corden being rude to people. And he always comes out, like a lot of people come, oh, I was just having a bad day. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have ever acted like this. Please forgive me. No, future Ellen, this is not how this works. Like, you have been a jerk to multiple people. People don't like it. Everybody sees through the facade now. You're just an angry white guy. That's
so, you know, they said supposedly he went and he was demanding to get free drinks because the food was cold or something.
Not even because it was cold, because they had home fries with his meal instead of something else.
These people, man, I swear for goodness, famous folks.
And if food is cold at a restaurant, that's easy. You just tell them politely, can you go put this under the hot lamp for me and come back? And maybe it's because I'm just that type of guest.
Yeah, I don't go off. You know, I was a server through college, and so I get it. And sometimes when it's just egregious, and I may, you know, but when it's just like, okay, I can look at stuff and say, okay, buddy, this sat in the window a little bit too long. Can you give me some fresh fries or something, and we'll be. And
especially if you're a celebrity, if you say your food is cold, they'll usually not only comp you, they'll give you hot food, send you home with a cake. Like, you don't have to be a jerk to the poor little host. Why are you attacking the poor little hostess who can't control anything got to do with the kitchen?
Yeah, it's crazy, but you know, all right. And number 1, the IRS once wrote Tyler Perry a check for $9 million.
So that headline you have is actually wrong. It should be Tyler Perry fires all of his accountants after audit reveals IRS owed him $9 million.
Yeah, he did get an audit, and he wasn't a happy man. But he was happy he got that $9 million. Some movie got made with that $9 million.
That's cute and cool and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But you and I know, and we're lower on the totem pole of money. If
Yeah.
our tax person ever came back to say, just so you know, remember how a couple of years ago you paid like $15,000 to the IRS? They actually owed you $15,000 and I made a mistake. You made
Yeah.
a mistake?
Yeah, you can gather your belongings. This will be your last day.
To the
Security.
left, everything you own in a box
To the left.
No.
$9 million. But let me see. For $9 million, I think he probably made about 30 episodes of them BET shows with that. He cut everybody's salary and he got a whole lot done with that $9 million. You better believe.
The fact that he don't have no writer's room, who is he paying?
He got a writer's room. He just don't give him no credit.
No, he doesn't.
All right, he just don't give no credit.
The reason why Miguel is trying to change the subject because he knows that we might have to work with Tyler in the future, and all my videos are gonna come up.
See right there, as soon as they do a Google search, they can be like, you guys need to lose our number because we got history. But you know what's funny?
She's awful.
That's funny. You always give a little sugar with the little salt with the sugar. So I found out recently, I'm working on a project right now. That the part of the reason why so much content is made in Georgia, we knew about the tax credits, but I didn't know how far the tax credit thing go. Do you know that? And I bet you King knows about this because he's a filmmaker. He's coming up here in just a second. People sell their tax credits. Did you know that?
I did.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I go make a movie. I get $5 million in tax credits, and some rich person over here said, I need that write off. I'll give you 90 cents on the dollar. Go ahead and give me that. Here's you got how much for $5 million? I give you $4.5 million for your $5 million in tax credits. And you'd be like, okay. Sound like a plan to me. Sound like a plan to me. So I was just like, okay, Black Chamber, we got some work to do. All right, so anyway, that's our How and What segment for today. And if you missed any part of it, make sure you go on back there and grab this content and share it with the world. All right, so as I mentioned, we're gonna have a conversation today. I found this brother. The algorithm said that Miguel, you need to know this guy because he's posted some pretty cool stuff. And so he has this thing where he starts posting basically these memes that kind of break down his Twitter posts and breaks down stuff pretty succinctly. And I said, Kia, reach out to this brother because this maybe he can help me to understand how in the hell Hershel Walker is in this race. Brother King Williams, man, welcome to Light Full Circle Radio.
Thank y'all for having me.
Man, you are welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, in this world of Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and influencers and people that make sense that aren't working for one of these major networks, we got to all get together sometime. And so, man, I appreciate you. So where are you at in Georgia?
I'm on the east side of town. I don't want to say too much because I get in journalism and sometimes people want to show up at your house, but I'm on the east side of town.
Okay, so you're out you in the A.
Yes.
In the A. Okay, all right. But I'm on the south side of town.
Okay.
No. Let's not let him lie to you, King. He is actually he is so far out of Atlanta, he's practically going to Macon. Okay,
wow. Is Almeretta gonna be mad at you? Like, what do you mean?
I'm on the south side. I'm on the south side of town.
Wow, okay.
And
okay.
we like it.
I like McDonough.
We like it down here. All right. So anyway, man, let's jump into this thing. You've had some interesting takes on what is going on. And early voting has started. Mm-hmm. If some people always ask this, they say, Miguel, what the hell is going on in Georgia? And I try to explain it to them. And, sometimes you got to bring people in. They're telling people the exact same thing you've been telling them. What's your take on what's going on in Georgia?
Ooh, okay. So where do you want to start?
I'll help you narrow it down.
Okay.
So we have the race against Raphael Warnock and we have the race against Hershel Walker going against each other. Mm-hmm. We saw the debate between the two of them. It was clearly to us that Raphael Warnock won, but a lot of people in Georgia are still holding on to the whole Hershel Walker's a great man. He won that debate. And it's just like, that's what's going on where the confusion is. I mean, okay. Multiple women and it's crazy.
Yeah, a new woman come out today say, oh yeah, he paid for my abortion too. But go ahead.
I actually had the update on when that story was going to drop. And sometimes also for those that know, hey y'all, I'm King Williams. I'm a journalist in Atlanta. So we get information sometimes earlier than other people do. So when I saw that there was another woman coming out, I was just like, you know what? At this point in time, if they're going to vote for him, they're going to vote for him. It's not going to be anything.
Absolutely. Doesn't matter.
So, but to answer your first thing. All right. So I did post a meme about this to kind of circle into what both of you all were saying. Historically speaking, the Republican, and this is a broader thing, so I'll make this in the 15-second version of it.
Mm-hmm.
But historically, since 1964, with the Republican Party's nomination of Barry Goldwater, two things have always happened. One of which is black people have voted for Democrats, and white people have generally voted for Republicans. And so we know this. We have 58 years of research. Whoever is in that R slot, for the most part, will always get at least 48% of the vote. So Hershel Walker was always sitting in a good spot. I think now the thing that gives him a really competitive advantage with Warnock, and the reason why people think he won the debate, is all he had to do was make complete sentences.
That was it.
Yeah. So when the threshold is low, I think, and that was a strategy that even I think CNN.com and also some other seasoned reporters in Atlanta would pick this up by July. I was like, oh, okay, they're about to bait and switch you.
Right.
And that kind of gets into a whole nother conversation about that. But we kind of know where that's going to be at.
Yeah, a lot of the pundits have just come out, and Dana Bash, I think is her name, who's a right wing pundit. She just flat out came out about a week. Did I say her name right, Kia?
Do you mean Dana Loesch?
Loesch, there you go. All right, close enough. All right, so Dana Loesch came out a couple of weeks back, and she flat out said, "We don't care how smart or not he is. We just want the seat. Period. Point blank." And you know, it's just something to be said about the Republicans in that regard. They don't even front anymore. It's just like, this is our strategy. We want to win these seats. We want to win these school board seats. We want to win everywhere we can win. Democrats, y'all can have these federal elections because y'all keep beating us in the general. But when it comes down to what we're going to control on the state level, they are all on it. And you know, I even heard, and you're in the game. You're in the game closer to it than I am. That the polls are inaccurate. The Republicans are not really telling the truth on these polls. But the numbers are well over 800,000 people have already voted already. And so what is that telling you? What is the tea leaves telling you about where we are right now as far as who may win that Senate seat?
So there's a couple things. One of which is, I do want to get into like the voting numbers in particular. I do think there's a bit of a red herring that's happening with that.
Okay.
So one of the things was, I've said this, and I know a lot of my friends in the media, especially who work at a very large Southern media firm, have been really upset with me for continuing to say this.
Key. It's probably AJC, but he ain't got.
I'm not going to say who it is, but I have definitely criticized publicly about this. So this is the thing that actually is, I think it's important to that. So when we talk about narrative building, a lot of times, especially with this governor's election between Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp, and what this polling actually means is that the average voter, the average person receives information in kernels, and they receive it on a myriad of platforms. And so and this is up until the Hershel Walker debate, every single poll in the state of Georgia and every single poll outside of the state of Georgia, so, you know, a DC firm, a New York firm, they do polling here. Every one of them over-indexed in conservatives, which was, I understand the rationale for doing that, but we over-index in white conservatives in particular, as the majority in every single poll, you're going to get a result that says, you know, at March 1, what was it? January 1, Stacey Abrams and Kemp were tied, right? Basically a dead heat, about 48-48, right? With some would-be swing voters, about 4%. Right. Now that vote is probably like plus 12 with Brian Kemp. And the reason being is if you keep running conservatives in polls, you keep running whites who are typically, like we said before, the most likely to vote for Republicans in every single poll. You're going to get a result now. The average voter just assumes, oh, okay, Brian Kemp is the winner. So what happens is it stops most swing voters. Most swing voters actually behave as somebody, they want to vote for the winner. I know that seems counterintuitive to what we've been taught, but in general, if the swing voter sees that this person is leading, they're going to go with the lead candidate. What it also does is for the person who's in the challenging seat, or the person who has the lesser amount of votes, their base actually stays home. So I've been criticizing that for the longest. This summer I said, you know, we needed every poll. There were some polls that had maybe 5% black people. Georgia is a state historically that's always averaged between 25 and 40% of the population. How are you going to have a survey where only black people are 5% of the polls, or Democrats and liberals are only 20% of the polls, right?
Right.
And I think that's kind of how we get into this thing about polling. When it comes to early voting right now, yes, 800,000 people have voted, but I do think your listeners at home need to understand there's a caveat to that. And I criticized it in my newsletter yesterday, and some people, again, didn't like that, which is, as much as the state can tout that they're having record-breaking numbers every single day, on average, over 100,000 people have voted every single day in the state of Georgia. What they don't tell you is that we're now, this was last night, there's a gap of comparing 2022 and 2020, in that 900,000 people who would have also voted at this point in time through absentee ballots just have not shown up. And
No.
so when you can say that, oh, well, Georgia's going to break this record, we're going to hit all these numbers, we're going to at least surpass 2018's totals. It's a bit of a lie, because when you took away that level of access to absentee ballots, we're only at 55% of the level that we were 2 years ago.
Explain a little bit why there's the issue with the absentee ballots.
Yeah, so this is part of it's just political revenge. So, and Joe Biden won the state of Georgia by less than 12,000 votes in November of 2020. Raphael Warnock won a little over 90,000 in January 2020, and John Ossoff a little over 50,000. In both the legislative sessions of 2021 and this year, we've had a large bill called SB 202, as well as a series of other smaller changes to the Secretary of State's office to really reduce early voting access. And what I mean by that is, in 2008, for example, when Republicans were still leading Georgia and Barack Obama got elected, we actually had 6 weeks of early voting. We're now down to 17 weeks over the last
17 days.
Years. 17 days.
Right.
17 weeks would be amazing.
Right.
But 17.
I was gonna say, that's great.
Yeah, so 17 days. We went from 6 weeks over the last 14 years to 17 days. The other thing is that both Brian Kemp, the current governor, and Brad Raffensperger, they've really targeted absentee ballots in terms of, they didn't necessarily go out and say that they were going to participate in Stop the Steal, but they passed legislation that the Stop the Steal voter would already have won it. And what that has done is reduce absentee ballots to a point where the state is saying that 200,000 people have applied for absentee ballots and 100,000 people have received them. So that lets you know at home, just 2 years ago, we had over 1 million absentee ballots already out, right? And at that point, and so like that lets you know 80% of the absentee ballots that would have been out are just no longer there. And then of the ones that are currently there, only half are being accepted. And then of those who are being accepted, we'll wait and see what the numbers say later on. I think I have a hunch on who those people are who are getting accepted. It's not necessarily race as much as it is people who have physical needs.
And also, didn't they also make it illegal, basically, to even hand out water in a line or even take care of people in a line? You know, I remember when I was pregnant, when I was voting, they were just like, we can't give you anything. And it was like, well, I'm standing here pregnant. I really would like some water.
Kia's in Florida. She's in Florida. So, you know,
I'm in Florida. I'm in Florida.
Okay. Yeah. So I will say I was one of those people who were out there and active doing lawn warming in 2020. I was active in 2018 as well. The state will say that they were just underprepared for that event. But considering, you know, we had one of the best voting companies in Dominion Voting, who still is a partner with the state of Georgia. And we also had, effectively, we had millions of dollars in COVID aid that was going to states. I think people forget about this. A lot of COVID money went out for these types of things in 2020, and we kind of forget about that. But the line warmer thing was, especially in Black places, this is something I probably saw maybe 50 or so precincts during that 2020. But a lot of places that typically have Black people, and sometimes Black, Latino, and Asian people, especially you talk about our Northern County Gwinnett, they had lines sometimes as long as 7 hours. And the reason being is because sometimes the Secretary of State only sent 7 or 8 machines, and maybe 2 of the machines weren't working. And then in the case of one place, they had 14 machines, and 7 of which they just didn't plug up, right? And they didn't charge overnight. And so you have this kind of level of like deliberate either incompetence or people who are deliberately trying to make it so that people don't want to go vote, right? So the Secretary of State was saying that, hey, we just want to prepare this demand, and, you know, we'll be prepared next time. And a lot of Black people who were there, who lived in the Metro Atlanta area, were saying that, hey, this happened to me in 2018 when I tried to go vote. We also had a line in 2016. It's just bigger now. There's more attention on it. But the line warming thing was just a direct response to the negative press. So myself and a lot of other people were passing out water, passing out snacks to people because people who are pregnant, people who are older, just people like, you know, a senior shouldn't be out there for 3 hours, you know, in the cold of November to vote. And so that's kind of where that came from.
You know, when we look at everything, all the obstacles that are being presented for this process, what we know is that for the most part, Democrats benefit the more people who vote. You've just kind of laid out a scenario where you can create a level of apathy by telling everybody, well, a whole lot more people have already voted. 800,000 in comparison to 3 years ago when it was 200,000. And I'm hearing this from left-leaning media outlets that did not break it down to the level of what you just did. It's just math, right? If 800,000 people are doing it in advance voting, but then you have a missing 800,000 in mail-in ballots, then you're not winning, you're losing. And here's the thing, the assumption is that 800,000 are primarily going to go to Democrats. We don't know. We have a base on the right that's extremely excited right now. They're very angry, and then you have a situation where many people
And that
believe
leads me
that.
into my question. Like, I have a
Mhm.
messy question. No, we're talking numbers, but I want to talk a little bit about the ideology of who is Herschel Walker, and there's a reason behind that. I'm a Black
Mhm.
Republican. Not every Black
Mhm.
Republican looks like me, acts like me, or whatever.
Mhm.
And when I see white Republicans pushing Herschel Walker up, this dumb kind of Sambo, just kind of talk like a slave Southern boy, good to the white people kind of guy, it almost makes me think, is this what they think of as a good Black person, that this is what they want to hold up? And as a Republican, that irks me. But is that really that's what it seems like? What are you seeing?
So this is something I did call out like a year ago to some people, especially like more like Democratic politics about politicos in the city. I was like, Herschel Walker is going to be the nominee for the Republican Senate, and everyone was arguing with me up and down about that. But there was a couple things. One of which is the caricature of Walker as he's out there. A lot of that is true. That actually is how he interacts with people. So I think it's not a misnomer. Some of
Okay.
the issues that we all know about are actually true and interacting with him as well. So that's not a misnomer. Um, in many ways, I understand what you're saying. For a lot of Black people, it feels almost disrespectful to put someone that we kind of think of as, I don't want to say not polished, but not necessarily representative of what we think is an
Stupid.
established
No,
political.
stupid.
Oh,
The word you're
you said
looking
it.
for is stupid. He's not like, and again, I'm a Black Republican. I've seen other Black Republicans. We have the Michael Steeles, the Mia Loves of the world who are out there. And I'm sorry they're not kissing Trump's butt, but there are smart Black Republicans, and Herschel Walker is not one of them. He is
Well,
literally
here's a challenge that happens. They look at you, and even calling him stupid energizes. It is what it is. It energizes that base to say,
and I and
"Oh,
I, and I don't get that.
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't. Do I get it? I don't get it. I do get it." But go ahead, King. Go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say, so this is like an ugly thing that we got to kind of talk about, and I bring this up historically with someone like Ronald Reagan. What I mean by
Mm-hmm.
that is like typically white voters,
Mm-hmm.
and so this is also one of the things I'm working on now is just a longer history of like Black people in the Democratic Party. So just so
Yep.
y'all can know like how we got there. So
Awesome.
typically white voters, and this is important. What you're saying as a Black Republican is very important because that's a tangential conversation. Who's a Black Republican versus the image that's presented. Um, but white voters in general are more comfortable with voting with Black candidates who either reaffirm their stereotypes or don't challenge them on stereotypes. And so we have at
Right.
least 50 years of data on this. And so Herschel Walker kind of fits in that space where he might implicitly do things that are so caricature, but like for every other Black person, it's signaling, okay, this guy is really just disrespecting our people and disrespecting what we look like. But for a lot of white voters, especially would be swing voters, and especially white voters who are typically don't vote in most elections, they typically will come out for a candidate who kind of assuages that. We just have data on it. And I bring up the Reagan thing is because also candidates like Walker, he's doing this thing that we call soft seed conservatism, which is it's not actual conservatism by like the actual policies and procedures, but it's soft seed conservatism in terms of how he presents his ads, how he presents his speech,
Mm-hmm.
how he produces the anecdotes that are very appealing to would-be white voters. And so that is very powerful. So like a Corey Ruth, for example, who's a very well-respected Black Republican here in Atlanta, he would probably never be the Republican nominee for Senate just because he could not appeal to white voters who kind of want a Herschel Walker type of candidate, right?
Right.
And so that's kind of, we just have data on it. It's an unfortunate thing about politics, but we know that historically, if you have a candidate like Herschel Walker, he can probably win. And especially if he's going against a Warnock type of character, which they would consider uppity.
Correct.
So that's kind of where we know that's going to be at.
Let's move over to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is
Okay.
right.
Sorry.
I want to get
Really
your take.
quick, did you watch her recent public access debacle?
Yes, I did.
Okay. Did you watch it, Miguel?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay,
King.
I'm sorry. The reason why I'm laughing so hard is because her opponent actually bought every single commercial break. So every time we took a break, his commercials would run. And all these people are calling and asking her either tough questions and not being like nasty about it. Some people were. And she decided to walk off. She just walked away and just did not come back. It was
I look at Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she's a bit of a caricature as well. She is the wife or the girlfriend of some of those pseudo tough guys who running around with the big black, white, and blue flags flying from their trucks, and she's doing pull-ups and videos and all this. But People who don't live in Atlanta or don't live in Georgia, ain't no way in hell anybody's voting her out of that seat in Rome, Georgia. It ain't happening. Everybody's like, why don't somebody go run against her? Or why would somebody go run against Lindsey Graham in Kentucky? Or why? Do you want to go live in that part of the country? But go out, King. I want to get your perspective on Marjorie Taylor Greene because she's extremely dangerous, but she's not going anywhere.
No, and I do think her district and how they did redistricting over the fall, and they kind of really killed the Democrats' momentum in Gwinnett County by including so many Black people in particular in that district who are now going to be represented by Marjorie Taylor Greene in the Congress, the U.S. Congress. I think in general, though, there are way more Marjorie Taylor Greenes in Georgia than people probably want to admit. And I do think that she's very popular for a reason. It's not out of the realm. I mean, she's one of the top 15 fundraisers across the country in every type of race. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. So it's not like this is out of the question.
Right.
I do think, though, in my eyes, she represents a part of Georgia that even Brian Kemp has distanced himself from, like even since her tenure, which is we don't want to be next to conspiracy theory, QAnon, like generally unhinged kind of person.
Yes.
But even Kemp, I've been watching his campaign as well. They have to court that voter as well. So it's kind of like, I guarantee you, Brian Kemp could put anyone else in that position instead of Marjorie Taylor Greene. He would, but right now she's probably going to be there until she doesn't want to be there, which is, I think,
it seems like with the Republican Party, it's a damned if you do and damned if you don't. Like, if I say this is crazy, now I've lost a whole chunk of voters. Now, if I appeal to these people a little bit, now I got a whole bunch of crazy people following me, and I don't know what to do.
Well, the difference is you're talking about the difference between a Senate seat and a House of Representative seat, right? A House of Representative seat can, and the way they cut it up, as King just mentioned, you cut it into a very narrow cast of people who look and think and act and move like her until you get another 10 years of the census, which is why it's important, guys, to get involved with the census. But every nut job out there is for the most part are on the House of Representative side more than it is there on the Senate side.
Don't worry, give it time. The Senate's going to be real weird in a second too. Just depending on how this election goes.
You just got all the great. You just got all the great. Go ahead, brother. We try to have some fun out here a little bit.
No. I'm with you on that. I see so many things. I'm just like, this could play out in a weird way that we kind of don't. I say we as Americans probably don't want. Yeah. To your point, I'd rather have all the crazies in the House because they get, replaced every 2 years versus like the Senate where they get replaced every 6 years and they're voting on your judges. So
this is true.
Yeah, so that's kind of where we are.
I'm a little concerned. Hold on, just say I'm a little concerned about Pennsylvania as well. You're paying attention to the Pennsylvania race with the Senate race with Dr. Oz because
yeah.
You got a situation where the senator who's running for Senate had recently had a stroke. He was in a debate last night, had some issues there. We're responding to some things, and the option is Dr. Oz, who's a Trump supporter. A Senate seat is a Senate seat. They're so worried about Georgia because that's a potential loss of a seat with Hershel. But this issue up in Pennsylvania is something that's a little bit concerning too.
Yeah, I think though, but Georgia, Pennsylvania, and this is kind of also relates to both voter laws because like Pennsylvania also had a series of new voter laws since 2020. We know this now. If Black voters show up, they typically vote Democrat. Like we ain't got to debate this. If Black voters in Philadelphia vote, then Fetterman is the next U.S. Senator. Like if Black people in Atlanta and the Black Belt of Savannah to like Macon and Columbus vote, Warnock is still your Senator. Like it's not debatable, right? They just have numbers that they can run. I think for Fetterman's bigger issue, to your point of the stroke, I think his perception. Dr. Oz, and I can't stress this enough, is very, very famous. There are people who are going to vote for the famous person just because he's famous. Yep. And we've seen that with Donald Trump. We saw that with Tommy Tuberville in Alabama. People really do like celebrities. And I don't think people understand this enough. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the governor of California twice. Like, I don't think people understand this. If you are popular, you have an inherent advantage that a lot of just buying media just doesn't cover.
You have a reach.
It's the prom king and queen deal. They know you, they like you, and right. And so that's a concern. Kia, you have one thing you want to do before we let our brother go.
Unless he is a House of Dragons fan, I will pick my question. Are you a House of Dragons fan or not?
No, but I saw the ending and I thought that was a great ending for the next season.
That's okay that I won't ask you this question. I'll ask you my other question. So give me your quick thoughts before we get off the air about the situation with Kanye West, meaning with him and what his political goals are. He has made these multiple comments about the Jewish community. He has been really tight with Candace Owens. what are your thoughts on that?
Whew. All right, that's a whole nother episode.
I know, it's a lot.
I was gonna say, in short, I do think, and this is not. I know people made this joke. I have worked with people in my previous jobs and just life. People have severe mental health issues, and I do think this man is going through an episode of mania. I'm not a doctor, and I can't necessarily say that directly.
Yeah.
But it does seem very unhinged in the way that I don't think this is stable. I do think he can have a career provided he gets in a very strict regimen of both medication and therapy and things like that. I'm more concerned now what the end is going to be for this man, because I've seen people who've really ventured off this crazy. But I think Kanye, as we know it, is done. I don't think he's going to have much political sway, but I do think he actually is more influential than I think people give him credit for.
Absolutely.
And I do think for young people in particular,
absolutely,
he might be someone we should be considering, like, because he still has a pretty large influence over young people.
Where can we find you, brother? I know you got some films you're working on and you're writing. Tell us how we can find you on all the socials and how we can support you.
So I am on Twitter and Instagram at I am King Williams. So at I am King Williams on Twitter and Instagram. I have a Substack called IamKingWilliams.substack. We're posting things every day until the election is over. And also I have a documentary coming out next year called The Atlanta Way, which is documenting gentrification, and another documentary that I will not say until the contract gets signed, but it will be out next year as well.
Hey, man, I appreciate you. You got an open seat over here. We appreciate all the insight that you gave us. I hope you had a good time here at Life Full Circle Radio. And so, and I may be reaching out to you potentially because I'm also host a show for the Atlanta Black Chamber. So we would love to get you on that side. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank y'all for having me.
All right, buddy. Great insight, man. He definitely brought the smoke, which was good.
A lot.
I in some areas, I hope he's right. Other areas, as he said, as much as it was a little bit doom and gloom.
It was interview. Amazing information. He's right about every single thing he said about how, and he's right. And I never thought about this. When people hear, oh, we've already had all these people come out to vote, or this person's already leading, they're just like, oh, well, I'll vote for that person, or that person's already won, so I'm not going to come out. And that's really a tactic.
Right.
And it's sad. And people, please go out to early vote. Go out to vote. No matter what you hear on the news or hear on your Twitter or seeing your Twitter social media, just go vote. It does make a difference. You never know.
It absolutely makes a difference. Just do your job. We all have a job this time of the year, and it's to vote. Being part of the process, because we don't want to hear you whining and bitching and moaning if things don't work out the way you want to work out. All right, we got a couple more minutes. What?
We got 7 minutes. It's House of the Dragons time.
All right. So here is our what are you watching segment of the show, and so you've been on me about watching this, catching up. And so,
and also before we get in House of Dragons, so interesting. You know what I got stuck watching while I was working for the past 2 weeks?
What?
The Waukesha trial of Daryl Brooks, who ran up those people in the Waukesha parade.
Wow.
I watched his entire trial. I had it on for one day, watched it every day, watched all of his antics, watched the verdict today. If they're going to make a Netflix show out of this trial, they're going to. There's no way they couldn't. It was too just insane. But yes,
okay. Now I haven't seen much of that. If people don't know, that's the trial. It was a Christmas parade. I think it was last year, and the guy, and I'd be honest with you, I know he
represented himself.
Didn't know he was black, and so he was, and so he's going to jail for the rest of his life, and good for him, for doing what he did to those people. All right, House of Dragon. Spoiler alert! Spoilers.
No, these are real spoilers, guys. If you haven't watched it, we've given you till Wednesday,
and we don't care.
That's all we got,
and we don't care. And here's the thing, and I don't care. Here's the thing. I don't ask me to know nobody's name, so we got to go with the blonde prince with one eye, the dark kid. All right,
it's Aegon and Aemon. Aegon just got crowned king. Aemon is the one with the eye patch, but it's blue on the inside. Then
it's a sapphire. You know that part. I knew that. I read that. It's a sapphire. He put a sapphire in his eye.
Rhaenyra.
See this side, it's too close. It's Rhaenyra and then it's Rhaenys. Like they worse than black folks with these names that they naming after their daddy and their girls. Okay, so Rhaenyra, Rhaenys, but go ahead.
Erica and Aaron. That's how black people do it. But yeah, so Rhaenys is the princess. So we've come to the final episode, and I will say, and a lot of people are saying this, that the House of Dragon series has kind of revived House of Dragons, because we all know that last season, not House of Dragons, Game of
Game
Thrones,
of Thrones, yeah.
because that last season of Game of Thrones was trash.
It wasn't that great, no.
It
It was
wasn't.
really the
It
last
wasn't.
episode. It was everything. It really was. Everything was decent until the last episode, where you was like, okay, these episodes are decent. Now I'm ready. I'm ready. Give me a great finale. And it was like,
But they went from having 15 episode seasons to like, we just gonna do this at 8. It's like, what are y'all talking
right,
about?
right.
But it's a great story, and what they've done, I feel like, and you can let me know, they really have set up season 1 to get into all the crap in season 2. I feel like that. This is when it's gonna all pop up. And be a war.
When it's gonna get hot. But my thing is, how long they gonna make us wait for season 2? Because it's a whole lot of content in the world today.
2024 is when season 2 will be coming out.
That's 2 years from now.
I am very aware how math works, and yes, it's that's what they said. It's going to be 2024, which to me means it is going to be a larger cast, and maybe maybe season 1 was just to let's just see how people like it, and if people like it, we'll do more next season. So now it'll probably be bigger sets, more stars, more whatever. But let's talk about a couple characters really quick.
Ahead.
Sir Christian, you need to get a life, sir.
How you've been holding? Which one is Sir Christian?
The night that she slept with one time, and
now
he's
yeah.
So she put it on him. For 13 years.
She put it on him. Yeah. He was mad about that. He was mad after, right?
But who holds a grudge for 13 years, sir?
Sir Christian. Sir Christian. Yeah, and it's going and it yeah. So okay, so Sir Christian. All right, let's move on. Who else?
Aemond, who is now king. Apparently, Aemond has all kinds of children that he has fathered that are living all throughout Westeros. That he's fathered because he's
when did I miss that?
I can't do this if you're not gonna be paying attention.
Hold on. You talking about the one with the short, with the bob? He got the blonde bob. Everybody else got the long joints, the ponytail. He got the bob.
The blonde bob.
He got the blonde bob. So how he fathered a bunch of kids? I missed that.
Because he's a sexual deviant, and his mother hates him because he's a sexual deviant. He sexually assaulted a maiden, a handmaiden.
I remember that.
And then the reason why they know he has multiple children is because when they were in the arena and those kids were fighting with the long nails and the sharp teeth, several of those children were white blonde hair. They're like, wait a minute, you can only be white and blonde hair if you're a Targaryen. And they're like, he's like, those are Aemond's children. There are many more than we know.
I missed that.
Go back and watch it.
I gotta
there
go
are many
back
more than you know.
I gotta go back and watch that. So, all right, we got 2 minutes. So, and that final scene.
Little Lucerys.
Little Luke. With a little itty bitty little dragon who want to sit out there and spit fire.
His little Lego dragon.
It was like, okay, when he walked up in that joint and saw his cousin with that patch, he was like, ooh, okay.
Also, aren't these kids supposed to be the same age? Why does Aemond look like he about to go get a manager's job at Walmart? And
he's a little bit older. He's at least 3 years older than they are.
3 years. Luke looks like he's 8, and Aemon looks like he's 29.
Hey man, that happens. And them little years, they make a difference. But here's the thing though. When he first showed up with his dragon and he saw that other dragon over the horizon, he should have known his cousin was there.
Yes, he should have known his cousin was there. But I also think after his grandfather passed away, he probably thought, my grandfather told us to stop. My mama told us to stop. We supposed to stop. And I also think with Aemond, he thought he's doing what big cousins always do. I'm gonna keep poking at you because I'm gonna bully you, but I'm not really serious. I'm just trying to prove a point. But your dragon doesn't know that you're not serious and that you're just trying to scare your little cousin.
Right. And both the dragons were kind of like, man, later for y'all, we gonna do. I don't like this dude, so I'm gonna spray this fire on him real quick, and I'm gonna try to outrun him. And Big Boy came out the clouds and was just like, okay, I got you.
Snap. Candle of fire, that little dragon spit out.
Okay, snack. And so that last scene and seeing what's gonna happen next year, but we gotta wait 2 years for that, and that annoys me. All right, we got about 2 weeks before Wakanda Forever, so we'll be keeping an eye out for that. I still have not seen Woman King. Huh?
Rihanna drops on Friday. She's actually singing the core score to the Wakanda movie, and it drops on Friday.
Okay, that's gonna be interesting. All right, did you say you're not watching Raising Kanan?
I told you, if it's on Stars, I'm saying a large no, thank you. I don't watch
And I'm
anything
gonna
on
ask you
Stars. I'm
that every
genuinely
time
on
because
iPad.
you need to get with black culture. See, that's the black
I'm not
Republican
doing
in
Raising Canaan. I'm not doing what's the little white
you.
boy? What he got going on? Power Star. What's his name? The white
Yeah,
boy show.
yeah. I don't. Tommy. I'm tolerating Tommy because I'm trying to see how it's gonna connect the stories, and I still haven't figured
No,
out
thank
how.
you. I'm not doing the Black Mafia family. I'm not even doing Outlander, and that's a white show. I'm not getting Stars. I don't care what they put on Stars.
Like
I'm not buying it.
$5. All right. So anyway,
Anything else you're watching?
so we're getting ready to start watching. We got to catch up on Queen Sugar because it's the last year of Queen Sugar. You're not watching that either.
I've never watched it.
Queen Sugar is a good show.
No, it is a good show, but I reached a point like, dang, you missed this. Like with This Is Us, I missed that. I was like, I'm not catching up on that either. Like
Yeah, I did miss This Is Us. I said I'm not watching about 10 seasons of that. I'm not doing
I'm okay.
it.
It's a hard pass.
All right, man. Great show. We appreciate King Williams coming up and giving us amazing insight today. I guess by the time this airs and people start looking at the repeat, they'd be like, Miguel, y'all didn't talk about this to Kanye. Kanye's mess moving too fast. And
Too fast.
it's moving too fast. We don't know what's going on. And I said I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna talk about it, but Nick Cannon got another baby on the way. Goodbye.
That was a hard